I feel like we blinked and fall planting is here. Don't look at my color samples for my house. Actually, which one do you guys like best? There's 3 here. I already picked one and whatever, but it'll be interesting to see which ones you guys are drawn to. And then you'll probably see the painted house by the end of this month, hopefully. But fall gardening is here, you guys, and I'm just kind of doing the prep work today. And initially I planned to do that like the last week of July, and things just got away from me. So like I say, it's better late than never, and I don't think the beginning of August is late at all. So I have a bunch of pots and stuff that I used this summer season that I want to get clean so that I could just have it clean for when I need it coming next season. And it's just always good to store things away clean. And then I'm going to be using some of these for the fall planting. So I have, let me turn you guys around. So I have a bucket here, and that's just soapy water, and then this larger one is just clean water, and then I have the hose here that I'll be able to just throw out the water if it gets like too soapy, and then refill it with the hose. So I'm just trying to make everything as easy and convenient as possible. These are all the containers that I'm going to have to clean, and my seat that I'll be sitting to do it because I don't like to stand. Okay, so as I'm doing this, I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about fall planting. This will be my first year actually planting crops for the fall, other than the garlic that I do every year. And fall planting is kind of towards the end of the summer where the temperatures have gone down a bit and you're getting into that cooler fall season. So there's a bunch of crops that like that time. So we'll have like a lot of the brassicas, well, all of the brassicas really, and you could still plant onions, garlic, of course, but that's more later, like fall season. You could plant bok choy, all of those things that you'll plant in the beginning of and around springtime. You could essentially plant those during your fall planting as well. I have a list of flowers and just like a list of things that you can plant in the fall, like written down. So I'm probably going to insert a little video or picture of that for reference if you guys are thinking about starting a fall garden. And the time that I follow, I use Farmer's Almanac, and I put in my zip code, and it just kind of gives me like a idea of like when I should plant certain things. And for my first time doing things, I usually try to stay around that time, and then as I do it maybe 1 or 2 seasons, then I kind of know what I need to do, and then I'll adjust based on what works best for me. So if you are unsure as to kind of when to start certain things, you can go ahead and reference the Farmer's Almanac. They'll have a planting calendar for you based on your zip code, and you could use that to, start your fall garden. In past years, I have neglected to clean my containers. I have not had any adverse effects of not doing that, but I figure since I am planting more and I'm relying more on my harvest, I should just go ahead and make sure I am not, maybe causing any disease to some of my seedlings or, so I have the time today. It's nice and cloudy, so this is the perfect day to just kind of sit out here. My husband is putting up some cedar shakes because, like I said before, we're painting the house. So that's the hammering. So this was almost an hour, or a little bit more than an hour of work of washing these. So now I'm just waiting for most of these to dry out, and then I'll be using these in the middle. We have these here, which I don't really need to use right now. I like to use, smooth this. I like to use these, which their trays look like this. I love to use these for onions. They're the oldest trays that I have, and they're pretty flimsy. So I plan to just use them continuously for the onions until they completely fall apart. So until then, they'll also be getting washed and used. And some of those already some of these have already fallen apart and I've discarded them, but they have their trays that goes together, and I've kept the trays because sometimes I just use these to hold containers like these that don't come with a tray, and I'll set them in here. And same thing with the humidity domes for them. The humidity dome is like pretty flimsy, but what I'll do is just double them, which makes it a little bit more firm, and I'll use these for trays as well, for especially containers like this. So you want to leave your pots to dry, somewhere that is getting sun, but not too much sun, if that makes sense, part sun. So that, because these are plastic, so if you leave them, especially in like intense sun, they will melt. So you want to be mindful of that. Like right in this area, they are getting, well, they're mostly in shade right now, versus just a little bit over, it's just a lot of sun, and that's the area that I don't want to put them in. So I'm just going to stack up the clean stuff, and I went ahead and grabbed my seeds, and I separate my seeds into, see these, I can feel how hot these are, especially the black ones. They already attract the sun enough. Definitely don't want to have them out in direct sun. I feel like I'm playing that cup game. Just stacking these bad boys. So you guys didn't get to see me when I was first doing seed starting for this season. So I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of everything that I use. I firstly like to use a tote, and I will give you the size. This is a 40 quarts tote. I could put the link down below. I think it was like maybe $8 to $11, somewhere around there, and then it does go on sale, so I think I may have caught it on sale, but it allows me to just throw a decent amount of the seed starting mix in there, and then I put my little container, and I'm able to fill it up without causing too much of a mess, especially because I'm working in like a small area in my basement. I don't really want to have to sweep up soil every 2 seconds or so. So this allows me to have the space to put the soil, get it out of the bag, and then also have a space to fill up my containers with the soil. So I really like using the tote for that. So I have a tote for this seed starting mix, and then I have a tote for potting mix. So once my seedling comes up and I'm ready to, you know, up pot it, I go ahead and use potting mix, or I will just make my mix. I use like 1/3 perlite, 1/3 compost, and 1/3 peat moss, and I'll use that mix to up pot my seedlings, because at that point they will need nutrients, and as you might know, there's no nutrients in seed starting mix. So the brand that I use is Bat Gold, and sometimes I make it myself. So this container also gives me the ability to go ahead and make a batch for myself, especially when I can't get my hands on one, or, you know. So I always keep in stock peat moss, perlite, and vermiculite for that very reason. So I also have my handy dandy spray bottle, and this is just one that it came in a 2-pack for my hair, and it's perfect for seedlings. So I will also link this down below. I will link the trays. I really like them because these pop out and you could bottom water very easily. And then they have these humidity domes where you can keep it closed, or you could twist it to open for ventilation. And they are much sturdier than my first batch over here, which you can see is like falling apart. So these were my upgrades for this year. And then I also keep my little container of vermiculite. I top my seedlings up with that. Once I plant the seeds and everything, I'll just sprinkle a little bit of vermiculite on top, and that will help with like excess moisture. Sometimes I over water a little bit, and you know, you'll get like green growth on top of it. This helps prevent that. So I have some rainwater behind me, and I'm just going to use that as my water source. When it comes to the potting mix and the seed starting mix, or like any soil really, like when it's dry, it could take a good amount of time for it to kind of soak up that moisture. So I find that if I pack in the soil in the trays prior to getting it nice and moist, it can take some time for it to penetrate and get nice and moist, especially because you're packing it in. So I like to just go ahead and have it be moist from the very beginning. And you want to mix in between so you're not oversaturating the soil. You want to squeeze it and water not run through. So you want it to be moist but not too damp. So this is what you're looking for when you squeeze it. You see how it just stays together and there's no water running down my hands like I did prior. And then I'll just put my container over it like this. And the tote just catches all the excess, and then you want to go ahead and push it down. You want it packed but not too compact. So you don't want to be at the extreme for anything. And then I'll just scrape off the excess. I like to run my hands down the lines so it just looks nice and clean. You can see the bottom also. This is going to be the end of this video, you guys. I was not planning to just end it here, but it unfortunately started to rain, and then it rained for a couple days, and the space inside just wasn't ready for filming, so I had to do some cleaning up in that back room once again. But in the next video, you'll see me planting up the different varieties. I'll go over my fall planting plan as far as where I'm going to plant everything. And I'll also show you guys how I am going to clean up the onions because they are ready to be stored away for the season. So I would like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I am going to remind you guys, if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are just a few subscribers away from 500 subscribers. So if you guys haven't subscribed as yet, please go ahead and do so. Leave any questions in the comment section down below. If I have not covered anything, that's the place to just leave the question for me. I'm pretty quick on answering back to you guys. Again, thank you guys so much for your continued support. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.